Wambach, Rodriguez. Wambach storming through. Collides with Andreia Rosa. Wambach is still down. Now Markgraf. A touch at the Rampone, and I think they have to put it out of play because Wambach has not gotten up from that collision. Well, she came through with a lot of force. And you see she collides with Andreia Rosa.
Wambach is just using her strength, trying to penetrate straight through there, trying to get a shot off. But a nice job by Andreia Rosa to get her body in front of Abby Wambach. And this is certainly not, as I said before, this is one of the challenges that you have in playing a friendly just before leaving for a major tournament. You've got to take the risk and have your top players on the field, but certainly having an injury to Abby Wambach would change the United States' future for that Olympics.
Well, appear to be knee-to-knee contact.
Yeah,
Wambach's left knee, is she?
It's pretty hard to tell. I mean, it looks like Abby was able to contact the ball right there, and as she was following through, whether it's an ankle or shin or knee, certainly something on her lower body, but can't speculate at this point.
Well, again, Abby Wambach playing in her 127th national team game. Andreia Rosa, just saw it, she's up and she's limping it off. But Wambach, that's been one of the storylines for the United States. Who would partner up top with Abby Wambach? And that's been really a competition between Natasha Kai and Amy Rodriguez, at least in a starting role. We just hope, obviously, it's not too serious that Abby Wambach's lost for any time, as Natasha Kai is warming up, and her services may be needed earlier than we thought tonight.
Well, and I'm talking yesterday with Pia Sundhage. She was so complimentary of what Abby Wambach has brought to this squad over the last year. Previous U.S. squads, everything went through Abby. Balls in the air, balls into her feet. And the new style that Pia Sundhage is trying to play now has every fourth and fifth ball winding up at Abby's feet. And she has never argued about that. She wants her team to succeed. And, you know, it's one of the things I think that has really shown Abby's maturity over the last couple of months. We
just saw Shannon Box talking with Pia Sundhage. What do you think that conversation perhaps about?
Well, if I were to guess that Box is concerned about Formiga penetrating in behind her and Lloyd. And again, that is an open space that the U.S. in playing this flat style has been able to expose. And I talked to Sundhage yesterday, and one of the things that she spoke about was trying to get the U.S. players just to relax a little bit and keep those other midfielders in front of them. U.S. players like to dart at the ball, try and get pressure, and it's important for them just to sit.
All right, so Abby Wambach, again, when she went down, she knew that this was serious, that she needed some help. And again, it's her left leg that appears to be the problem, and that's where the athletic training staff is tending to Abby Wambach. And we're concerned, obviously, the length of the delay as they work on that left leg, and it appears they're putting some kind of brace on that left leg. And again, this is, you know, no doubt an emotional moment for the team, but you see, we're seeing these wonderful pictures. You see the drama of dealing with the injury to Wambach, and then the players and coaches, they still have a game to worry about too, so they're dealing with a lot right now.
Well, and Abby is so tough. I mean, regardless of what happened to her leg, you could see on her face she, you know, was calling for help, but at the same time wasn't panicked, you know, and is trying to make sure that she doesn't elicit that fear into any of her teammates. Looks like Angela Huckley's right now is warming up, and so you might see Huckley's come in at an outside mid spot. That could push Tarpley up top, possibly Heather O'Reilly up top. Huckley's has been having a great performance of recent for the U.S. team. One of the older players in the roster.
Well, three-game winners she's had this year.
So much. We go back to our last game together in May.
Against Australia.
And we joked in that 5-4 game that if I were Angela Huckley's, I'd have retired after she scored that goal.
That's it. That's your signature goal.
Ball came in 30 yards over her shoulder. She one-timed it for the game winner in extra time to put the dagger through Australia's heart.
Well, we just see the team huddling as Huckley's could be a potential substitute. Now, who's taking Lindsay Tarpley, obviously the captain? What do you think's being said right there?
Well, you know, as a group of players, when you're out there, you're concerned about your teammate. At the same time, these women are professionals, and so they know they've got a match to win. They're going to want information about how Abby is doing, but you can see on their faces that there's obvious concern. What Abby Wambach brings to the U.S. squad, she is the only player that brings that. She is the target. She is the player that draws so much attention. She's so strong in the air. There is not another player on the U.S. roster that does what Abby Wambach does.
Well, this is what happened. Abby Wambach, again, going full stride, and Andreia Rosa, the collision's coming up.
And Abby is just working so hard. You can see she's trying to strike that ball. She doesn't pull back at all. Running straight into Andreia, who is also a strong, tall player. She stands about 5'8", one of the stronger players in that back line. Body to body, both players coming at full force. And Abby obviously got the worst of that.
Well, this is not the way the script was supposed to go. Abby Wambach hoping to get the 100th goal before going off to the Olympics, but just more importantly, hoping to go off to the Olympics healthy and to have a good send-off for China. Instead, this is not what you want to see tonight. The scoring leader for the United States, an injury of some sort that's going to require some extensive treatment. So Angela Hucles, as we talked about, former star at the University of Virginia, is going to step into the match. And we talked about her goal against Australia. Apparently the goal she scored against Norway they described it as a 40-yard wonder strike. So this is an exciting, electrifying player that can present some problems for Brazil.
Well, and Hucles has really blossomed under Pia Sundhage's style. What Hucles brings is a calm presence. She's very good with the ball. She's technically clean. She rarely gives up possession. And it really fits into the way that Pia Sundhage wants to play. Now,
does she play up top again? You would speculate maybe Tarpley or O'Reilly, who are not strangers to going forward at the top.
Well, it looks like she's withdrawn right at the moment. She's going to play in a little bit of a higher spot, so it almost looks like the U.S. is in a 4-5-1 with Rodriguez up there by herself, which means basically Tarpley and O'Reilly are going to have to push high and wide, and the attack, it'll look more like a 4-3-3.
All right, the United States in the blue having to move on from the injury to Abby Wambach. So a throw-in coming up for Brazil. You can sense it, though, as Abby Wambach is being taken for further medical attention. Just it really has taken the air out of the crowd right now as well, as this crowd was just every time she got near the ball sensing maybe this will be the 100th goal. But Abby Wambach, for whatever injury she's dealing with right now, just tremendous poise, but you can sense the anxiety in the crowd. Did not want to see that happen tonight.
Well, Abby always jokes when she's interviewed about coming from a large family and that she became so tough because she was constantly being beat up by her brothers and sisters. And so certainly we wish the best for Abby and hope that it's not a serious injury.
All right, Mark Rogardito's field level. Mark, you probably have more. Mark, what's going on?
Dave, and the news is not really good down here. Abby Wambach, the left leg, it's below the knee. Talked to a couple of guys taking her off on the stretcher right now, and they said probably both bones below the knee. Looks like it snapped. And obviously, as Lori was saying, if there's one player that's really irreplaceable on this side, it seems to be Abby Wambach. Tough news for this women's side.
Oh, indeed, if that proves to be the case. So again, just a preliminary indication, but good work by Mark Rogardito on the sideline to get that. And again, it just, you think about, as you were describing the toughness of Abby Wambach, no doubt she must be in tremendous pain, but certainly not showing it. Hucles, the touch for Mitz. The throw-in coming up for Brazil. No, it'll be halftime instead. So, the United States and Brazil scoreless here at Torero Stadium in San Diego. And what has to probably be described as an emotionally trying first half for the United States is late in the first half, Abby Wambach being lost to a leg injury. But Hope Solo and the United States team will have to find a way now to rebound, not only in the second half of this match, but also going forward. This was not the send-off they were looking for before the Olympics.
Well, the possession for the United States wasn't bad. It was certainly better than what they had on Sunday, but you could tell in that final few moments that the whole squad seemed a little rocky with the injury, obviously, to Abby Wambach. But the U.S. has lots of other potential scoring opportunities. There are 12 players on this roster that have contributed to goals over the last year, so certainly all is not lost, but feeling terrible right now for potential of losing Abby Wambach.
All right, Mark Rogardito is with us. Mark, what do you have?
down here with Carly Lloyd. Carly, obviously a physical first half. It took its toll with Abby. Give us a little bit of an idea of what was said when you guys all huddled while she was being taken off the field.
Well, you know, the situation happened and we can't change it. We hope, you know, everything's okay with her. But, you know, we just brought it in together and said we can do this. Come together. You know, this is the best time to come together. It's a very physical match, last match before we go. And we just got to come together and hope for the best.
Thanks for stopping by, Carly. It has to be an emotional time. Dave?
All right, thanks so much. Indeed, an emotional time with this United States team. They've shown their resilience before. They'll have to show it again, and because of this, Abby Wambach, their star striker, in a collision with Andreia Rosa, a leg injury, believed to be at least a leg injury that could certainly cost her some time. She gives the thumbs up to her teammates, and they'll look to build on that in the second half. We're coming back. Special guest on the way at halftime. No score here in San Diego.
And then again, the opportunity here where Abby Wambach collides, goes down. She's such a tough competitor. You can see here she's asking for help, but not a look of panic in her eyes.
My final question to her, guys, was what did you say about Abby Wambach going into the locker room to the girls? It had to be very emotional, and actually she told me she did not even touch on the subject at all, preferred to focus on the game. But certainly, as I mentioned, it was very emotional, the girls coming out of the locker room. Dave?
All right, thanks, Mark. Again, that's what they're dealing with. They've lost a friend and a teammate to a serious injury potentially, but there's this 45 minutes you have to deal with, and that's what Pia Sundhage has to be focused on.
Well, and if I were to have guessed what Pia Sundhage would have said to the team at halftime, that would have been exactly what I thought her response would be. She would not address it in her positive way. She just wants this team to go out and continue to play and continue to perform. It is a team sport, and there are several women on this roster that are certainly capable of finding the back of the net. Abby would be a huge loss, but obviously she feels confident in her entire squad. Dave, I think the U.S. has a lot of things to be proud of coming out of this game. They've maintained possession. They've handled a ton of adversity. Obviously, we hope that Abby Wambach, the diagnosis there is a little better than our initial report. But the U.S. players have got a lot of opportunities to step up and influence.
That's it. Sellout crowd San Diego was something to cheer about. Pia Sundhage, something to smile about. The United States in their final match before the Olympic Games, victorious 1-0 over Brazil. And Pia Sundhage and the United States can smile for this moment, no doubt concerned about their teammate Abby Wambach, who suffered the leg injury. But despite, no doubt, that emotional loss, this United States team showed their toughness, their resilience to get through and get the victory. The United States, something to celebrate, a 1-0 win over Brazil tonight in their final match before heading to China and the Olympic Games. They may have to do without Abby Wambach, but they showed their resilience tonight in getting the victory against a difficult Brazil team. For Mark Rogandino, Lori Walker, I'm Dave Johnson. Thanks for watching the U.S. Women's National Team on Fox Soccer Channel.